We're about what, less than a month away? Way less than a month away,
Oh, way
DK.
less than a month. See how your sense of time has gotten distorted by your vacation. Where'd you go anyway?
Man, I took a cruise, 7-day cruise with a bunch of family. We were in St. Thomas, we were in Puerto Rico, and then we did the Carnival, their island that they have too. Golly, San Juan was phenomenal, man. God, it was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, I would go back to San Juan. I'm not sure if you've been. It is an awesome place, man.
I've not been to Puerto Rico. I've been to the Dominican Republic, which has its own end of the island, and it's kind of set up like that.
Yeah.
But not the city. No, there's
Oh,
yeah.
I did do we did do Dominican Republic too. I drove on the opposite side of the road. Yeah, that was different right there for me, DK. We rented vehicles to go to this beach. I think that was the Dominican Republic. And man, let me tell you, driving on the opposite side of the road. Yeah.
That wouldn't have been the Dominican because I
It
drove in
wouldn't
the
have?
Dominican. No, I
Oh,
drove in the
okay.
Dominican. I could never drive on the wrong side of the road. I could never do that. How'd you do that?
Dude, I focus. Don't nobody talk to me. I'm following the GPS and just let me drive, DK. It was weird. Only time it really like freaked me out was when we turned left into a corner.
Oh,
Oh my gosh, it was weird, man. It was weird, DK.
yeah. That's pretty uncomfortable stuff here. I'm getting some urging from the citizens here
You're right.
to ding something.
See, I'm getting out of vacation mode. That's what it is. So you know what, Mahana, what is it, Mahana Gahala? How do you say it, Mahana Gahala?
Monongahela Mike.
There we go. Here we go. 3, 2.
Every last one of those sound effects, I'm just picturing the 73 just standing over him like a video game.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm here for it.
Poor dude's down, and his teammates are calling for help.
Hey, I'm here.
I'm
here, DK. By the way, that river is so hard to say. Monongahela. I got it now.
It's not that hard.
It's not.
I guess
boy.
If you're born here, I guess it's Monongahela is. You know the best way to say Monongahela? It's the Mon.
It's the Mon. Golly,
Yeah.
it's so hard to say sometimes, especially when you're looking at it. You're like, am I leaving the letter out? No, you're really not. Just say it.
Well, the actual number of days, since today is July 10. By the way, our wedding anniversary, Mon.
Is it?
Yeah,
When?
me and the boss, 27 years.
Today?
Today.
Happy anniversary, man.
Yeah, that's pretty
7-10.
cool. Yeah, we're celebrating. She went out to the strip district, bought a bunch of like well, we call it strip food. But there's but I can't even think of another word for it. It's elite. Deli doesn't do it justice. It's
okay.
Some of the best like cold cuts and cheeses anywhere. It's it's good stuff. So we're gonna have a nice cool dinner on this hot day. You know,
That's
you don't want
awesome.
to be cooking something when it's already 100 degrees or whatever.
For the folks that don't believe how you got your wife, I mean, now it's 27 years and y'all are still kicking too, DK. There we go.
It's been a while here. I see a lot of people are pointing out that they've been kicked to the uncle table.
Yeah.
Jake seems really surprised by it. Oh no, I'm sent back to the uncle table. And at which point, Fishing for Trout points out correctly that, yeah, Jake, the gift memberships only last 1 month, which means you got to get your own if you want to stay at the uncle table, or somebody else can come through for you again, but that's relying on an exterior influence.
It is. By the way, my anniversary's Friday too, by the way, DK. So we're 4 days apart. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, we're both January.
I'll remember that and wish you a happy anniversary. I don't know if I can send you strip food. It'll hold up.
I see charcuterie board on there. What is that all about, DK?
Oh, I don't know.
Is that what Dolly went and picked up, a charcuterie board?
Oh, I
Because
guess. What the hell? I don't know. I'm a sports writer. What the
it's a
hell does that
cheese
mean?
board, DK. That's what that is, man.
Oh,
That is
okay.
awesome to have, man. My wife,
Yeah.
I love charcuterie boards. You can make charcuterie boards in any type of way, too, by the way.
See, she can say charcuterie board, and I can explain the infield fly rule, and that's about it, man.
That's so good. That is so good. I see Dolly behind the scenes. Happy anniversary, Dolly, by the way. Yeah, there's a Dolly. DK, I got to ask you this too, since you have a July anniversary, because it is hot as Hades in July. Okay. Did you get married like we got married around football season in the break?
No.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the
All
whole
right.
story. Someday.
Okay.
This happened over in Romania, and
Okay.
it was very hot over there. And unlike here, there wasn't much air conditioning to run into.
Yeah.
But it's a different world. It's a
I think I
different
would have
world
had
here.
a spring or fall wedding had it not been for football, simply because it's so hot in Tennessee, dude, that we were just sweating skin at that point in time.
The way to become a member or to get back to the Uncle's Table, by the way, is to find dkps.net/join. Just type it up in your URL. You don't have to overthink it or be looking
Yeah.
around for buttons or whatever. dkps.net/join. Moan, the Steelers do open training camp in exactly, technically, 17 days. It's on the
Wow.
July 27th. Now, July 26th is the famous reporting day that tends to, you know what, in all honesty, for our purposes, media
Yeah.
purposes, there's way more news and information on that day.
So you
Everybody-
love it.
Oh, it's the best. We get everybody as they're coming in, and we get all this information about, hey, I'm feeling this and I'm feeling that, and they tell us where they were just on vacation, because football players all go on vacation, which is why you just went on vacation.
Yep.
This time of year, it's just instinct. You become almost trained.
Yes, you do.
But there is an excitement. I can feel it coming up. There's more people asking, "What are you doing, Latrobe? What are you doing? This? What's how are you feeling about the team and all that other stuff?" What's your feeling right now, Moan?
My feeling is, man, all of this is just a lead up to a bunch of practices as it stands right now, DK. That's what it is. But I'm with you on that initial report day, which is the 26th, as you said, for the players. The camp opens up the 27th for everybody else. And it's just more or less a situation where you just say, we finally got the game back. Guys will practice. We will see who really got into shape because of conditioning tests. And honestly, the excitement and the aura of what football is all about. But what's so interesting, DK, you're still a month away from actual ball. About 3 weeks, essentially, right?
Well, actually, let's make that today's subject.
Okay.
Because you aren't, are you?
No.
Like, you can say, and they do go on vacation and everything, but the fact is, the expectation when you walk through the gates of that complex are not that you're there to tune up, that you're there to ramp up.
Yeah.
You're just thrown in at 100%.
Yes, you are. And then a lot of us players joke too about the first day of camp too, because we'll get there, we'll see everybody, love on everybody, coaches come in, they're smiling, and strength coaches having a good time and all that type of stuff. And soon after the conditioning test, which most offensive linemen pass, is not usually the OL that fails it. It's the skill guys that fail it, okay, DK? And I'm waiting to see what that's going to look like after the first day. But with that being said, you talk about 100%, we usually say and look at each other in the meeting room that night. Now, remember, this is the healthiest you're going to be all year long.
Oh.
we have that conversation.
Who says that?
I say it. Dave would say it. Al couldn't wait to say it, because that's the last day in which you're really not going to be man-on-a-man physical activity almost every single day. It really is the last time. Technically, you're at 100%, as I put that in air quotation marks, but some guys do come in with little small, finite things, right, DK? But that is essentially the last day you can probably call a player 100%, because from there on out, you're just thriving and trying to survive for the most part, DK, after the first day and pass specifically.
But then you get out there, and it's one thing to have the run test. Okay, if nobody gets hurt, whatever else, some egos get bruised or whatever, and all the reporters are perched at the top of that hill, and we're all being told we're not allowed to report on what we're seeing, which is really painful, but that's part of the agreements that get formed. And at the same time, man, You know that it's the beginning of something, but then the very next day, it's just puh, like the Ramon theme, you know?
It really is, and it's so fascinating how, let me see, every year I walk into camp like with questions, like, okay, let's see where we are, because you really truly don't understand where you are until you go mano a mano, right? Till you really match up with somebody, offense versus defense. You also have the question, what am I going to feel like day after day, hour after hour, drill after drill? How many reps will I lose? How many reps will I win? What do coaches actually think? Because right now, DK, we went through 3 months of off season of just, hey, you're going to be here every day. You're going to be here every day. You're going to be here every day, up to 90 men, right? But DK, what happens now is it actually gets real. That's the reason I always walked into camp with some anxiety of making it, because it can flip. And I'd say probably more for an older guy. Guy like Cam, TJ ain't got nothing to worry about, right? Alex Highsmith, nothing to worry about. They can have good and bad days. They're still going to make the 53. But for a lot of guys, whether you play that mental game with yourself or whether you are a fringe guy, you can actually get fired and you'll never play football again.
We've got some really good questions lined up for the Hey Moan segment, which makes me just want to proceed to the only segment that matters.
That's the only segment that matters, DK, and that's all of Hey Moan.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
And this portion of the Ramon Foster Show, lest anyone forget, is brought to you by, man, are we out of it's been a while.
Come on, baby. See, this is like the first day of camp, DK. Get it together.
Well, yeah, except if you do the pull on me, I'm a dead man here. Brought to you by the Get-Go Cafe and Market, where quality is at the core of every menu item. 3 expert chefs fine-tune every detail so that every sub, burger, salad, wrap, drink, and app is crafted for craveability. Order your favorite entry at the Get-Go Cafe and Market today. Better believe it. There is some good stuff.
By the way, I have to say, Steeler Nation is vast, okay? I'm on a cruise ship in the middle of the ocean. Steeler fans coming up, okay? Some figured it out here and there, just a few, okay? I try to, keep my head down with a hat on and stuff like that, whatever. And then I'm walking through the airport yesterday. Some dude was like, hey. And I would go over to shake his hand. He's like, man, I watched the podcast. Love you guys. I was like, we'll be back tomorrow. He was like, you are? He was like, good, because he was coming back from vacation too. So whoever that was I met in Miami, man, we really appreciate that. I was walking with my wife and kids.
That's really, really cool, and yet not remotely surprising. Phil gets us going here with, hey, Moan! And he's coming at us from a membership table. Says, did you ever worry about cut day after your first year?
Oh, heck yes. First year, I probably felt more secure. First year of the contract that I signed 2 or 3 times. Every other year, it was always a question mark with myself. And it was probably where I dwelled at, honestly, for my own good. Second year, definitely. Oh, my. Me and Craig Urbick going at it. I think Tony Hills was moving the guard or something like that too. It was a competitive room that year. Third year, definitely. And then going into my fourth, the tender, that was the same year they drafted DeCastro. So every single year except for my rookie year, because I was told pretty much, hey, you're going to make this team. And then the years I signed those deals. So what was it? 13, 17, 19. I think those were the years I was just like, okay, yeah, I know I'm good.
Ryan Lytle comes in with an entry of his own, says, hey, Moan, do you think that winning a playoff game or 2 this year will quiet the Mike Tomlin haters, or is there just no hope on that front?
Only thing is he got to win back-to-back Super Bowls at this point. Just being completely honest, which I think there's we are in that microwave era of almost everything. Young players got to play early. Coaches got to win fast. Players need to develop super fast. Like, there's so much of that right now that we only watch 15-minute sitcoms or 4-minute clips of stuff that I think a lot of the fan base, I ain't going to say a lot of the fans, rephrase that. I think some of the fan base, the loud minority maybe, is just too used to it. And I don't think that's a good thing, because when you're good, you're good. Think about, and I use this, and maybe it's an easy cop-out. Andy Reid was in it for a very long time before he actually won the Super Bowl. Now he's the guru. You see what I'm saying? Like, Belichick, he's looked like a shell of himself since Tom left. You got a guy that's still competing and helped you guys develop a young quarterback as it stands, and it almost feels like he's got his hands cuffed with the coordinator if his growth isn't there. You had to deal with a franchise quarterback, deal with a legacy coach that won the Super Bowl right before you, and you still continue to win. It's just some people just not going to be happy about it regardless, but I think he's safe.
No, that's good stuff. We're seeing a lot of people coming in here. Really, really good questions here. For those of you who are asking stuff like, Aaron Donald, whatever.
Yeah, I saw that.
Just don't. Just do me a favor. When you do those things, put in the front of it where you heard it,
please,
so that everyone can laugh out loud in advance. Some of these, like somebody else is asking about Joey Porter Jr. holding out. That's never been reported by any actual outlet.
Yeah.
These are, try to keep the discourse up here somewhere.
I've been in the middle of the ocean. Y'all got to tell me where that's coming from, DK.
It's not.
I know, but I'm just being in a joking way. Like Aaron Donald leaving L.A.
No. Yeah,
that's just because he was at a camp in, what was it, Washington, PA, if I'm not mistaken?
Listen, AD lives very, 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 very close to where I'm sitting right now.
Yeah.
Okay? He's here all the time. Okay, this is his home. This is just stop. When people fall prey for non-actual journalism outlets, Dan Klemko says, "Hey, Moan, what is the mindset of a rookie, a second-year player, and a 7-year vet the day before training camp?"
Keep that one up there for a second, DK, so I can probably go against him. Dan is this: as a rookie, fight and survive. Put some flashes on film to where you're capable of being a pro. DK, am I right? What more are we asking for? Just flash. Fight if you're in the trenches and show some flash that you can be a pro. Show yourself. Second year guy, all right, couple balls come your way. Your rookie year, you don't catch them. All right, fine. Next year, catch those balls. Be more refined in your route running. If you're an offensive lineman, understanding the defense a little bit better. You're a defensive lineman. How do you get home a little bit better? Like, you're not the same guy from year 1 to year 2. If you show just a little bit of progress from year 1 to year 2, you're good. In 7 years, I'll tell you this: you're a second contract guy already, and you know how to be a pro. Whatever you did to be consistent through 7 years, keep doing that stuff. Don't try to reinvent yourself. Don't try to change your arm slot the way you throw. Do none of that stuff. Do all of those things that got you to 7 years and keep it above the line, as Coach Tomlin likes to say.
And more of these references to this. Listen, if you guys want to just make this really, really simple, come and subscribe to our website. We cover the Steelers. We cover it with professional journalists. We're credentialed. We're in there. We're talking to the players. I'm in there talking to the players. Ramon does work for us. Come to our place, okay? It's DKPittsburghSports.com. And, that way we can avoid all of this stuff here. Jake says, when is it appropriate, Ramon, or not, to approach player in public?
I think it's always appropriate. It's just the matter of the entryway. If you see me at a dinner table about to eat a snack, or I'm one-on-one with my wife, or, something like that, just give it a second. You can catch a person going to the restroom or after dinner, or if there's a lack and you see somebody staring at the phone, like, hey, what's up? You always, I think it's fair, unless you just see a guy and the body languages are just not having a day, or just have that today is not the day. Most pro athletes are very humble and really appreciate knowing that they can be recognized. I'll be honest with you. That does play a part in it too.
Look at me. This one says, look at me. It's Cat Manada. This is a new person here who's yelling at us from the uncle table.
Hey, he actually got a membership from somebody, it seems like, DK.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he did. What's up, Cat Manada?
Here. Dondre comes in with a contribution. First of all, $9.99. Thanks for that. says, "Hey, Moan, is it safe to say that
BJ.
Who's BJ?
Let's start because he's better than
Broderick Jones. Broderick Jones.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll start. I'm going to keep going for context here.
Yeah.
He hasn't been around long enough to just be an acronym, okay? Broderick Jones will start because he is better than Dan Moore was at the time he started. How do you let Dan start as a fourth rounder, and we have questions about Broderick as a first rounder? Well, different circumstance, right?
There are different circumstances. What was it? Banner got hurt or something. There wasn't really a left tackle at the time, if I'm not mistaken. So this is the thing about him. Dan is a very interesting guy. He's an ESPN top 100 recruit. He was either 4 or 5-star guy coming out. He played at Texas A&M. He's done all the necessary things to say that he can't play in the NFL. I'm not ever going to hold that against why the Steelers took him or why he was a fourth rounder. He's been known to be a player for a very long time. He started because I think injuries were in front of him also, and he proven that he could be a starter. I almost think this when it comes down to Broderick Jones. I don't know if Broderick Jones is going to be a day one starter, and I don't know if Dan Moore is. And honestly, the way camp is shaping up and how stuff is going to be rotating, I don't know what the trio of him, Chooks, Dan, and Broderick is going to look like. Y'all, truthfully, there may be somebody new on either side of whatever the line may be. This group is in a very tight situation. First rounder, guy that started a lot, and Chooks, I think, maybe on the last year of this or the last guaranteed money that he has too. I wouldn't be shocked if anything happening between those three guys going into this camp, because there's a lot to be done and said about how Omar is going to continue to, one, run this roster the way he wants to, and also manage the money that's coming behind it too. Alex Highsmith has to get paid also.
Chris Galloway says, "Hey, Moan, did you like the run test?"
Oh, yes, I did. You know why? It was one, I enjoy running. I just do. It sounds weird for a lineman to say that. Running never has been an issue for me. I loved it because of that. And then, of course, the big boys, we kind of run together. Nobody jumps outside the herd.
Well, one person did, and one person also ran with the offensive lineman. And let's call out this individual on this program today. Who was the individual who ran deliberately with the offensive lineman?
Ben Roethlisberger.
That is correct.
So whatever his pace was, if he was here, you'd be right in that little sweet spot right there, okay? And he ran with us.
He ran with you, but he did it in almost a politically segregated way, where he would be off to the, you know what I'm going to say, right? He'd be off to the side as if he was kind of like, he was the pace car at the Indy.
Yeah.
You know, he was just the one, he was making sure you guys would keep up with him and not the other way around.
And this is the thing, too, about our conditioning test, DK. You've seen it. I don't know if I can report. I'm a former player. Heck, I'm just having conversation.
You can say anything.
It's not hard. It's literally a spot to see open you up. If you're one of those guys that need to sprint a little bit, it's timed too. Okay, you're sprinting 100, jogging 50, walking back. It's essentially a play. Is what you're doing. It's a 13. Well, for us, we finish in like 17 to 19 seconds, 100. I think the skill guys make it within like 12 to 13 to 14 seconds, and tight ends had up to 17 seconds. Like, we were making it in 17 to 19. We had 22 seconds to make it 100 yards. That's what it was for the bigs. And I think the tight ends, linebackers, fullbacks had 16 to 17 seconds, and the small skill guys had up to 15. That's 100 yards, jog to the 50, walk back. So you had time for recovery. If you're failing it, you're either dehydrated, overexerting yourself on the sprint.
Yeah, something went wrong.
Wrong.
Yeah, now there was one guy that everybody would pick on, obviously, and that was Casey Hampton. Casey Hampton was playing a position where he was required to be at almost an unhealthy level of overweight. Okay?
It was.
You demanded that of him.
You did.
You required it.
So guess what you did with Big Hemp? Big Hemp touched the line at 20, 21, 22. And nobody said a thing, because why? Hemp giving you 3 plays maybe in a row. And he also was a Pro Bowl guy. I mean, what do you want? What are we doing?
No, he earned it here. MH says, "I'm chatting with you from Qatar in the Persian Gulf. A Steelers diehard since 1980 when I was studying at Pitt." That's really cool. Nice. A lot of these types of stories too. Thanks for giving us energy about our team. Please, can you talk more about the special teams?
Yes, Mattis. I would say special teams, man. It is a dog-eat-dog world with how those guys are. Whoever's the P5 this year might not be the P5 next year. You have to be able to play your position, but also be productive.
What's P5?
P5 is the number 5 guy, the inside guy on kickoff return. Or on kickoff.
New to me. Okay.
It's usually a bigger guy, too. Linebacker or tight end is usually the 5 on the inside. Outside guys is the speed guys because you're supposed to be the guy to contain everything. And 2, 3, and 4 are maniacs. Do you hear me? 2, 3, and 4 are maniacs, but it's super unique. It's not, if y'all ever look at the all 22.
Dirty red. The dirty red. You go,
yes, your Roosevelt Knicks. Yeah. Robert Golden played in that group right there. Artie Burns is on the outside.
Benny Snell was in there.
Vince Williams, okay? If you ever look, there are actual plays called on kickoff return, punt. They're not just bodies running downfield, y'all. It is very, very complex on how guys squeeze and send guys to the other side. Oh, man, that's a lot.
Now, that's good stuff here. We got David Johns coming in with a contribution and a question. He says, hey, Moan and DK, I listen to the podcast every single day, but this is the first live show I've made. If Najee Harris doesn't go off this year and Jaylen Warren does, I feel that some fans are going to want Najee gone.
Ooh. You want it first or me?
Now, then this one's you. Go ahead.
Okay. I'll say this first, DK. In all sports, that's natural. It just is. When a guy you don't think is holding up to what he's supposed to be doing, he's got to go. Look what the backup do. We can do. Yeah, I got to remember, the guy who's the star also gets the most attention. He's the dude they talk about in the meetings more than anything. It's the backup guy, Jaylen, who surprises you, who knocks you for 80 yards, and you realize, oh, dang, Najee had 90 and he had 80. That's a whole lot of yards from 2 guys. That's what happens. It's natural for you to want to go to the backup. That's one thing I love and I hate it, though, too, because it pushed me because of the backup talks all the time. But the backup is the backup for a reason. I don't think it's going anywhere.
My answer is going to be a little bit more rooted in the reality of stuff that I've been told, and that includes by Jaylen Warren, who we had a good talk. This was early in minicamp, he and I, and this offense isn't going to be structured around one running back, okay? There are going to be occasions where you see both of them in the backfield. I know that sounds nuts to a lot of people because it sounds like, 1974 or something, Franco and Rocky, but you're going to see them utilized in a lot of different ways. They want there to be that element of deception to the offense. So it's not going to be like, when you guys were blocking for Le'Veon Bell and D'Angelo Williams, there was almost a strict rhythm of 2 series for Lev, 1 for D'Angelo, 2 for Lev, 1 for D'Angelo. I've never seen Mike Tomlin do that.
No.
In any other situation, but I think you're going to see something like that now.
Yeah.
So my point is, you're not going to see one or the other get exposed.
No. I'll say this. When you got 2 that can work like this, just appreciate both. Because Najee does stuff that Jaylen doesn't, and Jaylen does stuff that Najee doesn't either. Like, it really is, and that's all I would tell you. As a player, on the player side, DK, this is me talking. Enjoy Najee too. A down year for him may actually save his career longer, that you actually get him longer too. And if you as fans, and I just say that because you ask the questions, say, hey, we want Najee gone. Don't be upset if Najee says some stuff in public, or Najee is a little bit more sinister about his attitude and how fans treat him too, because that will play a part in it too. Oh, y'all want me gone? Okay, I don't want to be here. Like, there's a lot of that, and that's just my player side, because it's so quick to turn the page on a guy because of, air quotation marks, bad production. And truthfully, it may just be pack more flies that want to tackle him.
Black and Yellow Texas Steel comes in with, this would have ended the conversation like right away. Warren also is a hungry dog who hasn't eaten. This is true. Okay. He just got a taste. Okay. He's just in the front door at the Get Go Cafe and Market. He has yet to go through everything that's back there. in the kitchen.
That's so true. That can't be understated, DK. That's so true, man. And he's still trying to prove himself. And this is the other thing. Let more film get out about Jaylen Warren before we say, oh, he's better than Najee.
Yeah, there's that too. I mean, he came past tense with the element of surprise.
He did. And that ain't nothing wrong with that either.
Nope. It's not just change of pace, but it was like a whoa, who's this guy? What are we doing here? That's not how the other guy was running. But you're not going to have that in year two. David Kranak says, hey, Moan, what would it take for Chris Boswell to lose his starting job? In the near term, not as much, but down the line, he seems like such a staple to the team.
I would leave him right there. Leave him as a staple. If he's good, what can make him lose his starting job? Missing kicks, uncertainty, like chip shots. So we like it from 40 in. No, let's go 44 in. If he's missing right there often, that is the telltale sign that a guy is mentally probably off and he probably needs to be off your team. If he starts missing those types of kicks right there, those 60s that he's getting, that's just sprinkles and cherry on the top, DK.
I'm not sure why, but for a Steelers podcast, we're getting a lot of references today to Paul Skenes.
I almost text you.
Yeah, Paul Skenes is this is a legit thing. Ramon's going to know about Paul Skenes because Ramon's an SEC guy, and Skenes pitching at LSU in the best conference, undeniably in college baseball. And Skenes, of course, is the number one overall pick that went to the Pirates last night, seen as a generational talent. Generational. Yeah. I have a question for you about that, Moan.
Okay.
When you have seen someone, whether it was a teammate, whether it was someone on the other side who people would talk about, never mind whether they were or not, but they would talk about as a generational type talent, someone who was just the next Randy Moss or the next whatever, okay? What was your reaction to that? Did you look at them a little bit differently? Did you react? You know what I'm saying?
I always looked at them like, you got to show me. And if I see it, then I'm good because the rumblings were true. Paul Skenes, I almost texted you last night and said, boy, this could be so good for the Pirates. I did because they're still teetering on being good, right, DK?
They're teetering in the other direction for this season, but yes, but they are legitimately young.
They are,
and they have legitimate potential.
Only thing I question when it comes down to the Pirates, I know we're still a podcast, but DK, you're so fluent in this. So screw it, okay? How's the coaching? How's the pitching staff? The support system behind him defensively when he has to pitch? And I guess historically, what does a guy throwing 102? Do in the bigs? Me personally, hands down, the number one pick this year. Easily. I saw him beat our team twice, and I've seen him pitch numerous times this year. And DK, you know ball. You know baseball, right? Pitchers don't pitch over 100, do they?
Man among boys. Everything about him.
He doesn't pitch. The pitchers don't pitch over 100 pitches. I've seen this dude throw 101, 101, 102 for 126 times in one game. And that in today's game is almost unheard of.
Yeah, and he was still hitting triple digits and everything. And there was a coach in the SEC, not at LSU, but elsewhere in the SEC, not at Tennessee, I can't remember exactly where. I know it wasn't at Tennessee, who was quoted as saying that kid right now belongs in one of two leagues, the National and the American.
Yeah.
And he said right now.
Ain't even close. There's been a lot of speculation that whoever he goes to, he could actually be on the roster this fall.
Yeah, except that LSU was throwing him 120 pitches and everything. And you got to be careful here. So, you're the father of a pitcher.
I know, 100, which is why I said so rare, right? The question I have for you, though, is this, DK. Mm-hmm. Does that 101, 102 fascinate you in the majors? Like, is it really a thing?
It is. It's always a thing. And high 90s is the thing in the majors still. But the thing is it's got to come with some element of deception. It's got to come with other pitches, which he's got. He's got a slider, and he's got a change that he's working on. He's got other things that he can do. But, and this is something, you probably heard this from RJ, but whenever you're throwing, they refer now a lot to tunneling, which is when the ball comes out of your hand. Okay, yeah. How is your fastball coming out of your hand the same way that your slider is? If so, it's doubly effective because the hitter can't read it.
can't
The
read
hitter
it.
can't read the release. And if you're in the major leagues and you've got Andrew McCutchen at the plate, and there's even a millifraction of a difference, Kutch is on you like fly on you know what.
Okay? They can catch it. They can catch it.
It's
I'm excited. I'll say this. I would buy a Paul Skenes Pirates jersey. That's how big I feel about the guy, okay?
It's a generational talent. Chris, this makes no sense. He won't get paid by the Pirates. They hold his rights for 6 years. Everyone's going to have to find new material for stuff. They literally hold his rights for 6 years. He's not going anywhere.
He's legit, y'all, is all I would say, DK.
Rhino boomerangs us back to football. Says, hey, Moan, when the Steelers decide to stretch the field out, will it be Deontay Johnson or Allen Robinson in the slot? I'm going to augment his question here, Moan, by saying that Allen Robinson did confirm for us after minicamp that he spent a fair amount of time in the slot. Now, they're moving guys.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, they've had George in the slot sometimes. They've had Calvin Austin in the slot sometimes. Not Deontay.
Yeah, no, I'd see Allen Robinson because, one, you're putting him up against safeties in the slot, linebackers in the slot if that's the case, or if a corner creates a matchup like that right there, his size and ability and catch radius would be phenomenal if this team offensively can craft up some plays to get the ball spread out to everybody, DK. That's our biggest hiccup, and I don't even want to mention because we don't want to go down the Matt Canada ride today.
Is that right? So we had a Cat Manada, but we can't have a Matt Canada.
Yeah, because that's so easy. Like that dead horse right there, DK. Like, let's go ahead and get some beef now. Like, okay, let's see what his substance is going to look like this fall because I'm excited because we're that close to actually seeing what training camp is going to look like. There'll be reporters there, DK. We get to see practices every single day, and then we get preseason games. That'll really have to tell us. I don't know if he's able to hold his cards to his chest in preseason as much. Like Matt Canada has to be able to say, I'm better than I was last year, and I'm going to show you in the preseason. Like, they can't tippy-toe because the team is actually super young still offensively too, that no matter what, if you are still the OC the year after, then guess what? You got a new bag of tricks because we talk about year one and year two players.
Exactly here. No one says screw the Pirates. Hey, you know what? There's nothing that gives away that you're not in Pittsburgh, like dumping on any of the three teams here. One city, one set of colors, same first name, all black and gold, only city like it in the world that has that. The Pirates are part of the family, and they are deeply ingrained, Moan. You're talking about 140 years of Major League Baseball in Pittsburgh. When the Pirates do well, like they did in April, there's just something different that arises from the population. It's just that's not a sitting here comparing back and forth. The Penguins hold the younger generation. The Steelers hold the expats, the people who don't live here anymore, or people who've never been here.
Yeah.
Because they, grew up with the 70s Steelers and became attached to the brand. But the Pirates are part of Pittsburgh. They've been around longer than our company.
They are. And when they're good too, you're going to fall in line and love them just the same. Every time, DK, the Pirates have been good. The entire city rolls with it, man. Or they catch a stretch. Yes.
Every time. I'll say it again. There's nothing that gives away that you don't live here or that you've never been here, like saying something bad about one of the three teams. Hey, Moan, says Wade, are you saying that we could see real stuff in the preseason?
I'll say this. I think it'll be necessary to see real stuff. Starters go a little bit longer because there's only 3 games. The idea that you don't have Ben in the huddle this year again, like now it's your team and Kenny's not a rookie anymore, you got to be able to show that. Unless, DK, you report to us and tell us Kenny's made the next step. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to get that one-on-one good time with yourself. It's not a veteran enough team to not play in the preseason this year.
On that note, LL jumps in right away. Hey, Moan, who do you hope, other than Kenny Pickett, will be the camp killer? Or will it be, I hope it'll be, he says, Joey Porter Jr., we need a true CB1.
Truthfully, Camp Killer. I'm hoping it's George. It's so much hype around George Pickens.
That's good.
It just is, DK. And I feel like if we don't see route development, which he has. He can run the route tree.
Yeah.
He has hands. If we don't see him specifically getting the ball against the number one corner, then that's when I'm starting. Like, he has to be reported as, boy, George is doing it again. Because if George is, if you're reporting it and then national outlets to DK are reporting what you said, then guess what? It opens up a lot of other stuff from everybody else. Deontay can eat. Allen Robinson eats more. The entire Pat eats more because you got George Pickens making these headlines. He has to be the guy this year. I feel like that is knocking everybody's face off when it comes to you covering. You can't cover him this year. And then it also does this, DK. It really separates that 1 from 2. Deontay versus George. And I feel like at the end of the day, everybody wants George to be 1. And then you can find out what Deontay's made of. He's going to crush it for another contract, or you got trade value, or you just release him. Like, it really is a telltale. Like, there's a lot of stories in that wide receiver room this year, DK.
Yeah, there really are. And I'm going to pick somebody else from that same room for my guy, but I've got a little bit of a different motivation for it.
Okay.
I want the camp killer to be Calvin Austin III. And the reason that I say that isn't because I'd be wondering about his ability or what he can add. I just want to know that the foot injury is fine. Okay, I want to know that he's all the way back and he's healthy, because that type of weapon is so very much needed.
Yeah.
In this offense here. Darren Watt says, hey, Mo, in training camp, what's the timeline for the rookies being put on a diet plan, and who's making that call?
There's no timeline for that. If you show up not where you're supposed to be, either underweight, overweight, or just bad in general, DK, what do we say at the beginning of the show? You get fired now.
You day one. See ya. Okay. The timeline, Darren, is it starts on January 1 and it ends on December 31.
Facts. Yeah, there's no list. It's 365 days. Okay, it's just where you are. Who makes that call? Omar, Coach Tomlin, position coach. Period. And that's the one thing I will say about the Rooney family. They don't get in tune with that type of stuff when it comes down to hiring, firing, unless somebody got arrested, DK.
Well, there are nutritionists too. I don't mean to jump.
Well, yeah, nutritionists.
There are people. The Steelers employ nutritionists, and not just chef that's in the cafeteria we all love, since they also feed the reporters.
Right.
But in general, there's a program that you're in. Now, for a lot of players will employ their own personal trainers and make sure that the personal trainers also supply them with nutritional requirements. And every set of training is different too. Yeah. You know, TJ Watt was telling me about the program that he's been on this year, and it's a little bit of an adjustment for him. Not much, but how you eat also affects how you train.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So you can't have. That's why you think, what are they doing it for in March? You know, the season is whatever months away here, because it affects how you train. How you train affects how you are in. You know, by the time you get to OTAs and minicamp and everything else.
Right. And this is the thing too, the cafeteria where we eat at the St. Vincent College is also this. They have everything that you're looking for each and every day as far as diet goes, right? You got a lot of protein, whether it's beef, chicken, fish, pork, whatever you want to have. There's always going to be a salad bar. There's always a pasta bar. There's always a pizza bar, French fries bar, fried chicken bar, whatever you want. There's something there for everybody. It's on you to say, look, I don't need all this steak today because I just had a bad practice because I was a little bit slow and sluggish. Or I don't need these French fries today or this pizza. Like, you got to be a pro. There's a lot of pro expectation out of your mindset more than anything.
Yeah, now Chandler Chase points out here that how hard is it for guys to fix their diets when they come from a place like the Chargers facility where they have burgers? The Steelers facility has burgers too. Yeah,
we have them every single. That's a protein, and you need your carbs too.
Yeah, for coming off practice, just to give you guys some idea here, the Steelers cafeteria at the practice facility has every kind of food under the sun.
Every kind.
Yeah. Okay, like I can't think of something. I'm trying to think of an example. What isn't there? But there's, if you want just a salad, if that's what you're feeling or whatever, if you want the official Coach LeBeau banana. Coach LeBeau told me never to leave the facility. He told me once himself never to leave the facility without taking a banana with me and eating it. So I do it every single time just for him.
There's soup every day. There's chili every day. DK, like you can make nacho cheese if you want to. Like, it's on the player, and nobody's gonna watch you, because this is the truthful part about it, DK.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you perform, nothing matters.
Well, yeah, there's that as well here. Thomas comes at you with a little bit of a challenge. Just going to take a couple more today. He says, Amon, if you were the head coach, what would it take for you to pull a starter? And I don't think Tom's going far enough, with all due respect. Yeah. I'm going to ask you how you'd handle it.
Oh, this is sticky.
I'm going to say it's a multiple years starter.
Yeah.
I'm making it harder.
Oh, this is hard, DK.
Because you can just say, you can answer Tom, like you can duck the question by saying,
no.
All right, running back fumbles out.
Yeah, that's an easy one right there. Running backs fumble. Well, let's go to a more specific position, because running backs have been devalued so much too. Let's go D-line, O-line, and let's go cornerback. What would it take? Play after play that you're just getting beat, not prepared, unprepared for a game. I've seen a guy get benched because of that. Not in the start, he was a backup expecting to play, and he had went and moped for like 2-3 weeks, and the guy in front of him got hurt. And that guy in particular was not prepared, because he said, well, I'm just a special teamer now. I don't need anything. Like, I'm not going to play. Why would I study the plan? Guy got snatched in the middle of the game. I'll tell you after everything is done. But for a multi-year starter to get benched, I don't think you necessarily do it. Unless they're super young, which you said multi-year. The super young, or they got a contract coming up. Like, it has to be a business decision to cut a guy or to bench a guy in the middle of the season, because everybody's due one bad game, 2, maybe even 3, DK. But you don't bench a guy because you've had him around long enough that you say, I trust you're going to fix it. That's why you don't really see benching like that, unless it's a guy that's still on his first contract, or just super young, or they mentally just got whooped so bad that there's nothing you can do about it. It's more mentally getting beat than I would say you physically getting beat and being called out.
That's good stuff.
Yeah,
good
that's
stuff.
About it.
The last one today comes from Thomas Chapman, who says, hey, Moan, obviously it's on a per-player basis, but how does a kid like Broderick Jones feel if the Steelers do sit him the first few games against great edge rushers, understanding or offended? And to put Thomas's thing into some context here, the Steelers open up against Nick Bosa and Myles Garrett. And specifically where Garrett is concerned, Dan Moore has done very well against him. So this is a possibility, you would think.
It could be, but as a young guy too, he's probably got so much anxiety about being a day one starter going up against those guys. He probably understands it and is okay by it. All right, let me grow a little bit more. 4 or 5 weeks of camp probably ain't going to prepare you for those guys in general, especially when you're trying to win right now. And this is the other part too. Who's to say that it's going to be just a couple weeks? What if he doesn't start until midway through? Like, this group has 3 good young guys that really have to fight it out. If Broderick wins outright, so what? He going to have to see him at some point in his career anyway, right, DK?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a big issue. And I just think you got to understand the business decision behind it if you're Broderick Jones.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he's going to have a choice in the matter. It's not like he's going to have a veto rights over the decision. So if he's going to either be a good citizen about it or whatever. But I think that the issue will be more to what the previous answer was about, which is you don't do that if you're Mike Tomlin, and even throw out the tiniest hint that this is just for these 2 games.
Right, because that's the meaning.
That. Yeah.
That's the meaning. And then
you lock yourself in, because if Dan Moore is excellent, what are you doing? You're going to yank him out of there? If he beats down Bosa and Garrett, and you say, no, now have a seat for the kid? No way.
Guys get benched because mentally, like, you get beat. It's usually not the physical side, because coaches be like, well, we'll give you time to get back to it. More times than not. Right, DK?
Absolutely. Well, guys, listen, this has been great and fun. We put in some extra time here today just to try to alleviate
Catch
our
up.
collective guilt. I'm a naturally guilty person, so I just the whole time it was like every day around 4:00, I'm like, man, it's gonna be fun when we get back to this. But I'll tell you what, having the opportunity now to build up toward training camp and everything's gonna be cool. And then once it gets going, wow.
Yeah, it will be. I'm glad to be back, man. A happy anniversary to you and Dolly again, DK. We won't hold you for too much longer because I know you're a big romantic. I know this.
I just want to dig into the strip food over there.
Hey, the charcuterie board, man.
The charcuterie board.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Until tomorrow.
Yes, indeed, DK. We'll see you. Let's have a good one. This is all you'll see me with for the next month, rest of the year. I drank way too much on that cruise, DK.
Oh, really?
Straight water is all I deserve, man. In the middle of the ocean.
Did you have little umbrellas in all your drinks?
Oh my gosh, cherries and everything, man. And it was just hot. I still feel dehydrated, man. I feel inflamed almost. You know what? Drink up. It's hot outside, good people.
That's good. Here, Mike Jones points out they didn't tell us to not stick around. See? That's because we're like getting like Pixar now, where we just want you to know that there's something coming after the credits.
Yes, Randy. 23 hours.
The little bouncing lamp here. I actually have something that looks like the Pixar lamp.
Do you?
Oh,
that's such a classic. See, that's what happens when you stay in the urban areas like DK in the city. You have lamps like that.
Oh wow! All right, guys, we'll do it again tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central. If you want to become a member, you can do that at any time by going to dkps.net/join. Bye.
See ya.